Lame duck session.
Lame duck session. Lame duck session.
The election has been called, the polls were right, President Trump has lost, and now Joe Biden can go ahead and move in and get started. Nope. Now comes the 2 months where the outgoing president can basically do what he wants until the new guy moves in. We've been using the term lame duck in American politics since the 1830s. Typically, there's not a flurry of activity because Congress has no reason to work with him and the president no longer has much political capital. But they are the president until the second someone else puts their hand on that Bible. What are the things that President Trump has on his to-do list before Biden takes over his house?
My daughter's she's like, I just wish you would work less. I'm like, me too, girl, but...
You're like, I agree, girl. We're on the same page.
Nancy Cook has been covering the president for 4 years, so I hit her up to see what he and his team are prepping for the next couple of months.
They haven't totally come up with exactly what that lame duck agenda will be like, in part because the president is really superstitious. He doesn't really like to think about like a second term agenda or a lame duck agenda until he knows sort of what the outcome is. We saw that even in 2016.
There's also the fact that the president can't really do a whole lot on his own thanks to that whole checks and balances thing. But the first thing you can expect is pardons. Every outgoing president commutes in pardons on his way out, and President Trump has already utilized this lever quite controversially.
Breaking news, Roger Stone breathing a huge sigh of relief tonight because the White House has just announced the president will commute his sentence.
Then there's the executive orders. The most obvious culprits would be things on immigration and healthcare, two things the president spends most of his time talking about.
I think we could see a bunch on trade. We could see a bunch on action toward China. I had one former senior administration official tell me yesterday that, a lot of the China hawks in the administration, like Peter Navarro, are going to come out in full force and try to do a lot of executive actions around that. So I think that we will see a flurry sort of across the policy areas because everyone will be trying to get in.
There's also the pandemic. Numbers are on the rise all over the country. Millions are still out of work, and there hasn't been a relief bill in months. Could President Trump want to try and cement his best deal maker self-moniker on his way out?
The only way that I could really see it happening in the lame duck is if there was so much public pressure to do it, like so many negative stories about, people being evicted or long lines at food pantries, which we're already seeing those stories. And so I'm just not sure that'll make a difference at this point. And again, as I talk to Democrats, it seems like they are anticipating that the earliest it could get done would be like late January.
Most outgoing presidents stay gracious, welcome the new guy, and work to make sure there's a completely peaceful and seamless transfer of power. It's one of our oldest norms. But President Trump has already said he ain't going out like that.
The only way we're going to lose this election is if the election is rigged.
He will spend the entire lame duck session saying that the election was rigged, calling into question the integrity of the election, and trying to make his base always view this election as illegitimate.